This week's sponsors are Katie Cannon Photography, an award-winning newborn and children's portrait photographer based in Liverpool, capturing those first precious moments and creating memories that will last a lifetime. Katie has 15 years experience working with children. Please give her a follow. All the information will be in the description. You won't be disappointed. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to the Billy Moore podcast, and today's special guest is Jose Baxter. How are you, Jose?
I'm sound, Bill, yeah.
Amazing.
Sound. A bit tired from watching you working out there, but yeah, I'm good, mate. All good.
Watching me punish myself.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Right. So Jose, former Everton player.
Yeah.
Played football ever since you were a kid.
Yeah. From what I can remember, 5, 6, getting picked up by Everton, and ever since then, really, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your story growing up.
So growing up, people say, when I was 3 or when I was 4, I can't really remember that, Bill. Yeah. But even getting picked up by Everton, it was around about 5 or 6. I was playing for Cleggs at the time, which is now called Bootle. And it was at Everton and Liverpool up until about 7, doing Monday, Tuesday here and Wednesday, Thursday there. And it become a time where I had to sign for one, and my dad just asked me, and my decision, which I still can't remember back in the day, but my dad was a Red. My decision was to go to Everton. Felt more homey there, felt a bit better, and it was the right decision.
I know we live in a city which is like us and them.
Yeah.
You know that as well. The Reds, the Blues, and I'm a Blue. I don't know what the fuck plays for them, but I am just because it's family. My dad, my brother, he was fan of the year. So what motivated you to play football growing up? Because what was your decision?
So I just love footy. I think like most lads, and then going to school and on the school yard playing footy, and I think it was around 12, 13 where really started like thinking, well, this is what I'm gonna do. And without being like big-headed or anything, I thought like I'm gonna do this and that's it, and maybe didn't take school as serious as what I should have done and stuff like that. But yeah, 12, 13 started then thinking that, well, this is what I'm gonna do, and then 14, 15 started going with the older lads, like the under-18s, the under-23s at 15, then I'd train with the first team. So by then I was like, I was all in then. Had a couple of days out of school, which they agreed with Everton to go and train with the senior lads and the lads who were full-time. So yeah, round about, I'd say 13 was when I really put my finger on this is what I want to do.
Well, do you know what, right? And I've listened to a lot of guests talk about their experience, and plenty of people who are in the sports kind of arena, and they've always said the same thing. They knew what they wanted. They were committing. It was all or nothing. They were going for it. You've got to have that. Do you believe that you've got to have that? Because I knew when I was at school, I was shit at footy. I was never getting picked. Right. I was jealous. I was jealous of the kids who could play. Right. And we'd be in a lineup. They go, I'll have him. And I'd be the last. I'd be the goalie. And I still wouldn't save a goal. So I knew I wasn't built for that. I wasn't built for football. I wasn't built for running. They used to have long distance like running events in our school, and I'd always be at the back. And he's this kid, he had legs on him like a gazelle, and he'd be running. And I'd be jealous and think, well, I used to think to myself, what's wrong with me? So without being big-headed, which you just said, you knew what you wanted.
Yeah, I did. I knew what I wanted from an early age, and maybe that's why I never took school that serious, because there was nothing else I wanted to be. And obviously, the older I am now and more mature I am, there could have been an injury in there somewhere. There could have been anything in there where then I would have had to resort back to, what am I going to do now? But my sole focus was being a professional footballer, like school games, schoolboy games, all that. Like I see now as a coach, a lot of kids go and play for the schools and like don't turn up training for like their academy and that, and that was never me. My intention was never to go and play for my school or go and play for the schoolboys. I wanted to be a professional footballer at Everton, and in my eyes there was nothing stopping me.
And so did you miss out academically a lot?
Definitely.
And you felt, you know, you've just touched on it, that you felt if you didn't have if you had an injury, you wouldn't have had that skill set to go into some other kind of employment.
Yeah.
So was that ever a worry, you know?
It was when I got banned, because it was like, shit, what happens now? Nothing to fall back on. So I was like, whoa, what do I do now? Maybe I should have took school serious. But back then, no, like, it wasn't a worry. Like I said, I don't know whether it was because I missed a big part of my growing up. Like at 14, 15, then I started being in changing rooms with lads who were these big, you know, big idols and multi-millionaires and, you know, big egos, and I then sort of went from being in school, walking the shop or getting me school dinner with me mates into the changing room with these men. So I didn't really get the growing up and the maturity I probably needed back then.
Yeah, it's gonna be overwhelming as well, isn't it? You know, especially like, you know, all shitting and changes with the big hitters like that. Yeah. You know, it's going to have an effect on you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I think that did have an effect on you, didn't it? Yeah. It kind of had an impact on who you were as a person. If you want to tell me a little bit about being banned and what went wrong there, you know, because it's, you know, it's your story.
Yeah, it was, Bill. My younger age, from round then when I moved into, you know, mid-20s, I just thought like I was invincible, and in this bubble where it was false, and I was a bit of a dickhead, and I was a dickhead. I wasn't a bit of a dickhead. I was, and just grew up sort of, like I said, in this football environment bubble where you feel like you're untouchable and you feel like you can get away with everything, and just sort of gambled with everything in life, lived on the edge, got a buzz out of it, and looking back, it was horrible. It was horrible. And then I left Everton. Even then, still with like probably an ego, weren't really playing. Thought I should have been. Just left. And then went and signed for Oldham. Got bought from Oldham, and that's when like me banning, everything like that started coming into play. Where like I'll never ever blame anyone but myself, because no one, you know, put that drug in them out and whatever. But for me, it was like a little bit of a knock-on effect. I always had dreams in life as a young kid, and it was to, you know, play in the Premier League, score at Wembley, play for me country. And by the time I was 20, Bill, I'd done all of them. So like, so
you'd actually done like you'd achieved a lot by that age, haven't you?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Played in Europe for Everton and Premier League, like I said, scored at Wembley. Got bought for over £1 million, like all stuff like that at the age of 20. And me last dream, which was probably the most important to me, was to like retire me mum and dad and buy me mum and dad a house. And when I signed for Oldham, as part of the deal with the chairman, the man who owned the club, was that if whatever I got sold for, if I signed the 2.5-year contract with him, it's 50-50 between me and him. And it was in a big boardroom, all board members there, my agent, my dad, shook hands on it, gentleman's agreement, and got bought for over £1 million. So for me, like that was my dream then, complete for me mum and my dad, really. And next thing, like, it come to paying me, and he just said he never said that. And then I walked into the boardroom, was like, well, there's other board members here who will back me up, because I thought they were sort of friends of mine, these fellas. I had a good relationship with them.
Tell me about it.
And then all of a sudden, no, we weren't in the meeting and didn't get a penny out of it. So I went to Sheffield United, which was a massive club, still is a massive club, on a boss contract, just being like bought for over £1 million. I was like the kid in the team who, you know, we just bought him, and just a shadow of myself, just playing football there, like 50% the man I was and 50% the player I was. Yeah. Going in with a mask on, sort of didn't want the lads to know, because you're playing in a team environment, so you don't want to show weakness, and putting a brave face on. I was always the class clown, me, Bill, in school and in the changing room. So if I went in and I weren't making lads laugh or up to mischief with, you know, the kit man or whatever, then people would have been thinking, well, what's up with him?
Yeah.
So, yeah, went in and sort of put a brave face on for a long time, really, and still actually, like I said before, without being big, I'd achieved really good stuff there, like the top goal scorer twice on the bounce, top 5 in a decade in terms of scoring goals for Sheffield, and that was all in the space of 18 months.
But do you think you were lacking in self-esteem? Because for me, I know that when, you know, I'm acting out and I'm trying to be the class clown, I'm deflecting, right? Because, you know, in reality, I'm not feeling too good about myself. And like yourself, I'm putting masks on, and I'm pretending I'm okay, and I'm acting as if, and you know, it doesn't benefit me in the long run, you know, because I know what happened. There's a consequence. I'm going to crash. And that sounds exactly like what you did. And you're also, you know, you ain't savvy in the industry, contracts, getting bumped here, there and everywhere by the sounds of it, in a sense. So do you feel that's like, was played a big part? Did you lack in other areas?
Potentially, yeah. Like, up until I moved to America, which was only like 18 months, 2 years ago, and started writing stuff down about myself, that's only when really I grew up, Bill, I'll be honest.
Brilliant,
and when I wrote down and read it over, I was just a dickhead, and really, it all boiled down to I gambled with everything, like, gambled with actually gambling, gambled with going out when I shouldn't have, taking that risk, gambled with relationship when I shouldn't have, just everything, like everything I'd done was just a big, you know, gamble and stupidity. And
they say, don't they, right? And I've learned this myself. Was like it's therapeutic when you write something down, because you can't escape what you've written down. You know, there's always a saying, and I got told it years ago: you can fool a baker and get away with a bump, but you can't. If you fool yourself, you'll end up with none. So when I started writing this story, right, and I've always said this, when I started writing my story, I was thinking to myself, I could invent this, I could glamorise this, I could throw a bevy on that. But when in reality I wrote about it and I seen who I really was, I was cringing. I was thinking, fucking hell, is that the way you behaved? And that, the fear of knowing who I actually was and then getting that published was like, whoa, wonder if everyone will judge me because I've told the truth here. You know, I was scared, I did have all these fears going on. You know, I did behave a little bit, you know, differently than the rest of the people. But it's not, it's attractive. It's growth. You know, did you feel that you were like, you know, it's not a fucking therapeutic session, like, but you know, did you feel like you were healing from all that?
Yeah, definitely. The more I've learned to come and speak out about stuff like that, and being in a football environment where not many people do, and the ones who are scared to actually, you know, might have seen stories take their own lives and that, like, I like to do it to also help others. And like I said, once I wrote down, a lad who I live with in America, he was like, just jot stuff down about yourself. He was American, he always used to do it, keep his own diary. And exactly that, what you said, I wrote it down. I was like, my God, like, is that who I was? And I was definitely embarrassed still. From like 28 to born, I'm embarrassed of who I was. But
I don't think, I think it's just growing up, like you said, and being mature. You know, it took me a long time to just like realise that I've been in the playground too long, and I need to develop emotionally, because like yourself, I had that air of arrogance. You do. You think you said you're invincible. You're gonna live forever. You know, you can go to these lengths and do things that you know you wouldn't normally do when your mind's a bit more clear. So you would do. So what was the drugs? What drugs?
So do you know what, Bill? I'd never ever took a drug in my life. God honest truth this, and went to London and took half a tablet. Still to this day, I actually don't know why, but I did it. That was on the Saturday, and on the Monday I went into training, got drug tested, and that was the first ever drug I took and the first ever drug test I'd had, and it happened, and you know, maybe probably for the better, really. But that for a couple of years after that, there was a lot of like depressing days and that very, very dark days where everything I'd done, like I said to you, from 5 up until 20, my whole life then just got ripped away from me and right in front of my eyes. And it was like, what do I do now? My routine had gone. Started like lying in bed for days at a time and all stuff like that. And then one day just sort of snapped out of it. What got me in it, as it was all coming out, the story and me ban, and it was the weight, the pressure of the weight of what's going to happen, where you're just thinking continuously that's enough. You've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. I went into some shopping centre, like a Marks and Spencer's in Sheffield, and I'd lived there for 18 months, so I sort of got to know a few people and faces, and it's a little bit like Liverpool. You love one, you hate the other in terms of teams, and dead quite good city in terms of everyone knows everyone, brilliant place to live. Anyway, I went to this woman on the till. I thought, she won't know me, whatever, hold up, and got me food, and by the end of it she said, oh, by the way, I've had to tell my son that his favourite player's been a naughty boy.
Wow.
It just crushed me, mate, honest, crushed me. Went home and was like, shit. My girl at the time worked and all that, and started like having thoughts I'd never had in my life and reality of it. I just didn't have the balls to do it.
Like the whole city, you feel like the whole city was just shaving you up a shame, butty.
Yeah,
there you go.
The minute I stepped foot out, I was like, people are looking at me, people are laughing at me.
So for a mistake, or a bad kind of judgment or a bad decision, you took half a tablet, you went out, you partied, right? You come back, you had an MDT, which is one of those mandatory drug tests, right? That's come back positive for ecstasy, right? Bang, your whole life's just being fucking switched upside down. How mad is that, mate? I found out, Bill, as well, by the manager in the semi-final of a playoff. So I'd had the drug test 4 or 5 weeks previous, and on the day where my dad and mates and I are driving up to Sheffield to watch me in arguably one of the biggest games of my career, I get the phone call off the manager, can you come in early? And I thought, I fucking hope he's not going to drop me. And then I sat down and he said, I'll just tell the fans that you're ill for now until I get the game over with. And everything just ripped from. So was this, obviously this was fucking in the public eye then, wasn't it? This was in the domain, everyone knows about it. Yeah,
so fucking Sky Sports News, Granada Reports, every newspaper, there was no hiding from it, like, which is probably why I stayed in my bedroom and stayed in the house and dark days, lights off for so long.
That must have been really difficult because I know what it's like to be targeted, but especially like, you're quite vulnerable. Right, no one realises that. They think you're a superstar, you're a football player, you've got it going on. But in reality, you're human like everybody else. You feel it like everybody else. And you're close to fucking ending your life by the sound of it, you know what I mean? Because if you're in a dark place, where'd you go after that?
No, that was it, Bill. Like, honestly, I had them thoughts and looking around the room and like looking at your belt on your jeans and all that and everything. Honest, I really did. Like that's no lie, and I just think all boils down to I really didn't have the balls, didn't, and not like the baby's mum got pregnant at the time. And like that was then like, never type thing, leaving a daughter or anything like that. So that was never ever going to happen then.
Do you know what, mate? I've been in that situation, right, where it's been fucking hell on earth and I've wanted to end it, right? I really have, mate. It's like I'm close to it. I'm looking around like yourself and thinking of easy ways to escape fucking the reality of my situation. And the only thing that's stopping me, right, is you haven't got the balls. Now, it's not about having balls, right? It's about losing your mind. People who end their life, they must be out of their mind, right? It's not, people say, oh, you got to be brave. It's not about being brave, right? You've got to absolutely be gone with it, right? So it's like the likes of us at that time are holding on to something. And I'm glad that I never had the balls, to be fair, you know what I mean? Because like I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you, like yourself, bringing up a little child and nurturing their young life. It's there's something that's fucking round the corner that's going to be like, or watching down or intervene, and I don't know what it is. But that situation, I can identify at the experience that you were going through. It must have been really difficult, so hats off to you.
Yeah, no, it was. And
did you have any support though?
So in terms of obviously family and all that around me, and then moved back to Liverpool and was in my mum's, and obviously my mum, girlfriend at the time, and that was fucking unbelievable with me, and then all of a sudden, a mate of mine started bringing me to, peak performance in Anfield.
Yeah.
Started bringing me there, and I started training with the two coaches there, Tom Christie and Tom Farrell, and then Clark Rooney sort of towards the back end of it when I was going back into footy as well, doing me football bits. And a mate Sean just kept coming, picking me up, like sort of getting me out of bed, and I got that routine back where like there was a 10 o'clock class every morning, and like, that was your routine, similar to footy, 10:30 start, but you're in for 9:30. So started getting a routine back, started training, getting my mind back a little bit. Before I knew it, like a year had gone, and it was only 6 months down the line, and then a couple of clubs were calling me, and sort of, I always knew I'd get back into football, but never did I know that I would have ended up back at Everton, which is like, still now pinch myself over, because I was in the chippy. I don't know whether you've heard the stories, in the chippy in Iton, with the baby's mum Cindy, and phone goes withheld number. So when you whip your phone out and
fuck that, mate.
Yeah,
not answering that.
Not answers that, but like she's
there.
looking down like, who's that? So I answered, and I just heard the words, and still remember the phone call like it's here now, and he goes, all right son, seems like yesterday we only spoke, doesn't it? And I just thought, that's the chairman, that's Bill Kenwright. So I said, chairman? He went, yeah. And he went, seen an article, you coming back, and I'd love to be the man to turn your career around for you. Never sort of understood why you left, and you were my blue-eyed boy, this, that, the other. So then I thought I was going back in just to train in pre-season and get fit to go to another club, and started doing voluntary work every Wednesday then for dementia and Alzheimer's up at Everton in the community. And one day Unsworth and Denise Baxendale come in and put a contract in front of me, 12 months off Everton, just to get back into it.
Brilliant.
I just broke down, mate. Just cried my eyes out, and then from there Unsworth was like you never replace me dad, because I adore my dad and he's always been there for me, but Unzi was like a second father figure to me, and just made me feel so welcome, and still to this day does, and like being an unbelievable like mentor for me. And then Denise Baxendale, she's like a powerful businesswoman, and for her to like take time out and text me now still to see how I am and all that, just like unbelievable to have that support from not only the chairman but them two as well. It's been great.
It's amazing, because I feel as if it's the power of like that, just empathy and humanness, right?
Yeah.
And people reaching out, because when you're in them dark places and it's lost, we need what we need is someone just to believe in us, because when we're like that, we don't believe in ourselves. I don't care who you are, mate, right? And you're talking about routine and discipline, right? If you haven't got routine or discipline, mate, and you're regimental around a few things, you're struggling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? You haven't got what the fuck it's like, what you do next, and your life can be really like mundane, you know what I mean? I can imagine what it was like, but to get that second chance and someone's actually believed in you, that's amazing, because that's what happened with me, and I think a lot of people need to understand that there's people out there that deserve second chances.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And everyone makes mistakes, Bill. There's some more severe than others, and in my case, there's probably hundreds of lads doing it, but in my industry, there was hundreds of thousands of people watching you, so it got publicised a bit more. But everyone makes mistakes, and you can't judge people on that, because if you haven't made a mistake and you sit in front of me, I'll call you a liar. Because everyone's made a mistake somewhere along the line, and no one's a saint.
No.
And just everyone does deserve a second chance, always.
They say, don't they, there's no saint without a past and no sinner without a future, right? I'm definitely no Mother Teresa. I don't claim to be. And like yourself, I felt uncomfortable about the things that I've done. But I know that's not me. Right, sitting here, I look, like you say, and I write about that stuff, and then when I read it back, I go, oh my God, who the fuck was that?
That's exactly where I was at, Bill.
I'm thinking, who the fuck was that person, right?
Yeah.
But there'll still be people out there, and I know there is, you know, that'll go, yeah, you've done this and you've done that. All right, yeah. If I'm still doing that kind of stuff, right? If you were still doing that kind of stuff and you were still acting out and behaving, then you're fucking fair play. You know, you deserve that comment.
Yeah, of course.
But no, if you're willing to change and you're trying, it's unfair.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, that was a stage of your life where you was making mistakes. You wasn't that person. You was. And to change, people say a leopard never changes its spots, this, that and the other, but I really look back at that person and think exactly what you've just said. Who the fuck was you? Yeah. And then you sort of want to prove to people as well at the same time that, like, this is me, and that realistically the closest people to you actually know that was never you anyway. But like to come out the other side and, you know, express and actually admit it, like yourself and that, like, it takes a strong person to say I was a prick.
Do you know what, right? I don't respect anyone who denies, right, when you know they've been in the wrong and they don't take responsibility and be accountable for it and go, you know what, I'm going to hold my hands up. If anyone says, look, it was me, I'm sorry, right, can we move on? I need some help, I'm reaching out to you, right, 100%. When you're in denial and you're constantly like just making out it was dismissing everyone's, that will keep you unwell.
Oh, well,
right, so, you know, there's a lot of people that will probably remain like that, right? You do things and I don't really want to admit the truth. So for you, you know, I'd always say this, like the catharsis of like the writing and talking about it. Yeah. You know, do you feel that's opened up a different world for you?
Yeah, it has. Speaking about it, especially in what I'm doing now in terms of coaching young lads, I'd hate to think that they can come into training and put a mask on and not come to me and speak to me. So for me, as a coach, you're a mentor, and you know, you're a teacher, and you're everything in one, and you've got to recognise them things, and that's something I'm massive on now in terms of. I hope that lads couldn't, because only today Connor Cody, Wolves captain, plays for England, messaged me saying, I read an article, this, that, the other, and the amount of car journeys we spent together going up from Liverpool to Sheffield, and like, you didn't tell me type thing, and like, it's because of all that. You don't want to show weakness at your teammates, and then will the manager not pick you if you say that you don't feel too good, and like, I'd never ever want that for any of me, you know, staff or any of the coaches around me, and that I'd always want to be there as like someone who can share them experiences, because I've been there and done it.
You need someone who's approachable. You know, it's I think that's paramount. If you can, like, see, we work with kids, you've just seen what we've just been doing. If we can identify with them and we can relate to them and share our experience, but not let it cloud our judgment when we're looking at their pathway. Because what was good for me isn't good for you.
No.
You know, how I feel is not how you feel. You know, we relate to differently to that as well. So I think it's important that if you're honest and you can share your experience with them. Does that do you find like they go like that? Yeah, Jose, do you know, want me to feel a little bit shit today? Do you think they're a bit more open?
Definitely, yeah. So when I was a player, I used to see fellas come in, suits, look the part, gleaming and all that, and talk about like stuff that's, you know, they've been this, they've been that, and 2 minutes in, lads switch off. They do, because I don't feel like they think it's real, and that fella hasn't been through it, and this, that, the other way. If the lads can see you've been through it and you've been on a similar path, like I said a story the other week to me mate, like there was a kid at Everton who come in, and I won't say his name, and he come in and I could see straight away that something weren't right with him, and I said, what's up with you? He's like, nothing. I was like, what's up with you? And he was like, have you got a minute? And like, he come and told me like traumatic news that had happened to one of his family members, and lucky enough now, thank God, that his family member's fine, but for that 5 minutes I just cried my eyes out with him and told him, knock on my door anytime you want. You know, you coach, but you know, I'm your mate as well, don't ever feel down, I'll come and cry with you. And he went away, and you could see he felt 6 feet tall. You can go home if you want, like, I'll go and speak to the top man, and if you want to go home. I said, you know what, I feel like if I train for that split hour, my mind will be offering that, and it was a lovely like moment as a coach to like think, well, you know what, like that's the first box ticked in terms of recognising that someone weren't themselves.
Yeah, because there's a thin line between anger and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right, you know, for someone who's used to like masking it and showing, you know, a little bit of like macho bravado, when it comes to being vulnerable, it's quite difficult. You know, and I've experienced it where I'll get angry first. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So when I notice someone getting angry, I know behind that anger there's a lot of hate. Yeah. Yeah. But that's to be. You see it on social media, people shouting off and putting people down, and they're angry. And I think to myself, you know, that person's really hurt. Yeah. Yeah. You know, they need someone to talk to and empathise with what's going on. Definitely. Whereas before, anger, it provoked anger with me. Yeah. You'd react. Yeah. You know, that was the way it was for me. You know, you were angry, so I'm angry. So we're fucking fighting now. Yeah. There's a consequence. Yeah. And at the end of it, I didn't feel good about it. And I knew now, didn't know then that the other person probably didn't feel good about it. It was just about talking. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, how fucking beautiful is that experience? Sitting there, right, and sharing your emotions and actually fucking crying. Yeah. You know, it's not weak. No. But it seems to be weak by some people. Yeah. Well, I think they're just the stupid ones who think that, because like you said then, like there's many a fights and many a traumatic stuff that's happened in the past that a conversation would have dealt with. Yeah. And like that's what we need to sort of pass down to the younger generation now, that brilliant. Rather than fighting and doing this and doing that, actually go and talk it out, because the majority of it, like, you know, it ends up two ways in terms of fighting and all. Like, you know, one of you go to jail, the other one ends up murdered. Two families have got to live with it for the rest of their lives. Like, go and actually talk it out, and you know what, you can help well more people, and that's the way I think about it. Yeah, the city's quite closed off in that area. Yeah. I feel that, you know, we can only do, you know, a small part, and we've got a small role to play. Yeah. You know, helping individuals change their pathway. But we're not actually, we can only guide people. Yeah. Like I know what it was like, you know, fucking growing up. It was quite difficult. We never had the mentors. Yeah. We never had the intervention. I never had anyone coming into my school telling me. We used to go to assembly, just sit there and fucking sing hymns every single morning. Yeah. You know what I mean? There was no interventions. There was no, right, this is the right path. Yeah. And then, right, like you said, the kid who turns up in a suit gleaming. Yeah. Right, I used to have like drug counsellors turn up at me mars with clipboards, with shirt and ties on, going, this is how you need to live. Yeah. And I'd be like, how do you know? The fuck, mate? Yeah. I wouldn't want to pay any attention to it. It was only like till years later that it was another guy that had been in the same boat as me, experienced the same stuff that I experienced, and went, yeah, Bill, you can change, you know. Yeah. And sit down and have a chat. Yeah. And that was the first time. Yeah. You know, and I broke down. Yeah. Mate, I'm not scared to admit that. Like, I'd tell you, I'll fight anyone. Yeah. But the biggest fight I had was with myself. And how I felt. Yeah. It was. Jose was like, oh, fucking fighting with my feelings here. Never mind you. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and that, for me, was the gateway to freedom. Yeah. And acceptance and going, okay. And it was only by listening to my mum, and my mum said to me, you need to ask for help. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, my way of asking for help was like climbing on fucking prison roofs and spending months in solitary confinement and in and out of institutions. That was me negatively. Yeah. I wanted help, but I couldn't say, look, I'm fucked. Yeah. Me head shot here. Instead of just saying that. And the minute I did say that, my whole life changed. Yeah. People reached out and went, look, come on, mate. Here's a way out. Yeah. So it's great that you're down that, you know, you've identified that with these kids. It is, yeah. It is. It's a lovely feeling, like you said, and like to get out of that, and like even retiring. Like when I retired from footy, loads of people was like, was it tough? Was it hard? It was more of a relief for me rather than an upset, because that whole Jose Baxter, the footballer in that bubble, I felt like was just, that could fucking put a knife in the bubble and it'd just burst, and that's exactly how I felt. And the Joe, like what my mum calls me and what my nan calls me and everyone around me who I love calls me, that was me back, and it was a nice moment. I feel bad because, look, I'm not a big football fan, right? Yeah. And our Joe is, right? Yeah. I think you know, I think he can name one player. He's never been to a game in his life, you know, right? Would he not? He would. I'm sure he would. But he's got that social interaction, but he's getting round that. He's overcoming it. And there's been a lot of people that have offered him boxes. So I'm sure once we get the chance, we'll go. But he's just, I don't know what, he just loves Everton with a religion. But you're asking me who plays for Everton, and all he'll say is Duncan Ferguson. He won't know anyone else. It's mad. He won't know any footballer. Right? He's had t-shirts and tops sent by them. He's had a few that the top players send him a few bits and bobs. Hasn't got a clue who they are. And I feel a little bit like fucking hell, I don't know, because I'm not a football fan, Jose.
That's fine.
So, how many games did you play for Everton?
So Everton from a young age, so I broke in. I was the youngest player to play in the Premier League at 16. So just come out of school and played in the Premier League, and then over a period of 3-4 years, played a handful of games, 10 or 12 games, Europe, Premier League, Cup games, and then went out on loan to Tamia, which was quite successful. Come back and just couldn't really break in the team. For me, I felt like I should have at the time. I was playing all right, and a couple of the older lads were vouching for me for that. But then Everton had signed like players for 15-20 mil, which is 10-15 years ago, when that was big money. So it was quite tough to get in the team after a manager that spent that on a player, and I played in that same position and stuff. So then that's when I decided to go, and went on to play like over 200.
What was your position in the team?
I could tackle midfield, centre mid, tackle midfield, and went on, like I said, to play over a couple of hundred professional games, and scored many goals and ticked dreams off. So although I look back and a little bit proud, I'm also, I think that I underachieved massively. Do
you feel like you did underachieve?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just felt like I should have went on to play 500 games, and if I wouldn't have had me 2.5 years out, 3 years, then that was another 120 odd, 150 games. I come back and injuries, because I'd been out the game for 2.5 years. Injuries then kicked in, so I couldn't really get going in the 4 or 5 years after until I retired. My body just wasn't used to not playing football. So when I got back into it, it was just knitting together, and little calf strains, hamstring, groin, all stuff like that, and just couldn't get going, Bill. It was when I say I was 50% the player when I went to Sheffield for mental reasons and a shadow of myself. Physically, and I was fucking 30% after me ban coming back. So I was just never ever the same. It frustrated me, and I was just in it them for, because teams are offering, and I'd go in, and I'm sort of trying to rebuild everything financially and all that as well. So yeah, it's probably just
it's going to be really difficult as well, because it's for the local lads to play for local teams. Right. How many do you know that have played like there's Liverpool and Everton? You know what I mean? You started with Rooney, didn't you? And then you worked your way up. Did you ever play with Rooney?
No. So Wayne was like, off the top of my head, about 6-7 years older than me. Like Franny, Wayne, Granty, all them lads were a lot older, and then there was like Varney, Victor, and then a couple of years older was like Rodwell and stuff like that, and then I came through after them. I was probably the one to come through after Rodwell, and then below me was Barkley. So we always produced, and like you said, there's tons and hundreds of thousands of
I'm going back as far as fucking like Pat fans are now.
So that's where I done me Everton and the community stuff with Pat.
I know Pat. Nice.
Pat's a tough fella. He got some great stories, and sat there and spoke to him.
And Lee, do you know Lee?
Yeah, know Lee well. So I done it with them too, and Henry Mooney. So it was great, fantastic experience. Like,
we've had our kid goes to match. Our Joe, that's only a big fucking family. He'll go to every game. Know what I mean? So it's important, I feel, going forward, to communicate. With in every aspect of your life, not only with your teammates but with your close friends and your family. Do you think that's something that you kind of missed out on?
Yeah.
What about relationships? How did they work out?
So I was in a long one, Bill, for 10 years, the baby's mum, and I was just a prick, just an absolute prick. And like you said, up until a couple of years ago, like, I was embarrassed of who I was now looking back, and now, like I said, it's quite hard to now say I've changed, because for 10 years people are like, well, you were a prick. So,
what do you mean though when you say you were a prick?
Just like everything, like going out.
Your behaviour?
Yeah, behaviour wise, yeah. Fucking other girls, being stupid. Not really seeing them as number one, really. Yeah. And they should have been. And like you said before, when you felt vulnerable, you were angry, like, I'd bite her head off at something that, like, weren't even bad what she'd said, or just like, I was horrible.
Just reacting, yeah. Do you know what? You know, and you're not alone there, mate. And my missus does all the edits, so she knows that, like, how you fucking react. Just you know, it's quite. I'm not perfect. Yeah. We do react. We do bite. I don't feel good about it after it, to be fair. But what I believe is behind all that is a lot of stress, right? And there's a lot of pressure. And there's a lot of things going on that's contributing in the background. So for you to behave the way you did, you're not born to fucking behave like that or react like that, or fucking be a knobhead, basically, right? There's something contributing to that behaviour. You know, it's whether it's your ego, whether it's you feel you're trying to impress upon other people. You want to be desired by other women. Drinking's a contributing factor. So there's loads that you've got to look at. For me, it's probably just looking at life on life terms. These days.
It is a pressured job, and especially at a young age, there's a lot of pressure on you to perform in front of, thousands upon thousands every week. And then obviously wanted to provide for my family. I wanted to be the bread earner and make my family kick back and all that. So and give her a great life. So the pressures was that, and everything you mentioned there, there was probably little 5 and 10% of everything you mentioned there in it as well. So yeah, it was, but I never ever want to blame that and that. I was just a prick, Bill, and
we can't. There's no justification. We can't, like, we just got to own our shit and be honest about it. But what have you done besides writing and communicating with other people to like grow in that self-development area? What have you done to you?
I think that's a big part of it. Got out of the sort of changing room environment. I think that's helped. The footballer scene is all like, there's no like reality and realness to it, I find. On the coaching side, there is, because you're trying to show them that way. Go for runs, write stuff down, listen. My hours in work, I had a nuts, really. So I'm full time now. I Saturdays and Sundays I'll work as well. So it's just constant. My days off, I'll have the baby and that. So there's I'm in a good place right now, and everything around me is all structured, and I get me rotas on a Sunday, and I know exactly what I'm doing for the week and stuff. So everything's great. And like I said, since the day I come back from America, like that was me.
So the be all and end all in your life is that you need structure and discipline and things to do. It's not about the money. It's not about all the ego and the image. And looking the part.
No, so it used to be. It used to be all that. Not necessarily money, but I did like the finer things in life, and the nice holidays and this, that, the other. And so you potentially could say that, but some of the best days in my life was when I was banned, and I'd go for walks for an hour and a half and have a little chat and go for a walk. Like they're the things that money can't buy, stuff like that. And now, trackies, I'm forever in my work gear and gym gear, and none of that stuff impresses me now. It's just like work and sort me daughter's future. Like that's all I'm interested in, is being happy.
I was talking to Razor Ruddock, and he was saying, like, because me and Darren done a podcast with him, and he was talking about, I think he was talking about how much he was earning, but he said by the end, he'd spend more than he'd earn, and that was just on going out and,
you do.
Fucking just living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, because it's like money for nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fucking money that footballers earn, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like
incredible,
16, like $4,500 a week at 16. Like,
the fuck, lad?
Yeah, it's like, it's big money, and then you think, well, I can go and get this, that this month because it's coming again in 4 weeks, and before you know it, like, that 4 weeks becomes 2 years, and you've only got a year left of your contract, and you fucking...
So 16, you were earning like, 19 grand a month?
4.5, 9, 18 grand plus bonuses and that, yeah.
As a 16-year-old,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then obviously you got taxed on that, like, but
but even if you got taxed on it,
it's
a lot of money for a kid,
It is a lot
isn't
of money, for a kid, yeah.
And to have that much money coming in at that age, it's gonna fucking have an effect, innit?
Yeah, it is, and it does, because like you're that young lad, and like I said before, you're rubbing shoulders with all the big boys who are going to the best nightclubs and the best restaurants. So guess what? You end up going there, and they've got a couple of mates around them. So you get your mates with you, and your mates are still in school or college. So you're like, well, you know, come with me, I'll sort it. And it is. It's like they say. It's like they say.
Like bad company corrupts good character. You know, you're involved in you know, a lot. So did you ever get Did you ever go think or ever feel you'd go down that route of taking drugs?
No.
After that experience with the ecstasy, right? Did you ever think that, fuck it, man?
No, you know, honestly.
Just the depression, was it?
No, never ever did, Bill, honest. And on heart, I never did. And I never did with the drink. Never ever been a massive drinker. And like I said, I'd never took a drug till then. So like, there's not a drink I can put my finger on and say, I enjoy that. Like, I'll still go for a pint by all means with my mates, of course I will, but like, my mates will go, oh, isn't that a lovely pint? Like, honestly, I wouldn't know the difference between a lovely pint and a not lovely pint. If they're both cold, they both taste the same to me. So there's not a drink I can put my finger on and say I love, but never ever did.
You hear that one, don't you? Oh, I'd love to be sitting in a fucking beer garden with the sun out with a nice cold pint. I wouldn't know what a cold pint tastes like because I haven't drank for fucking years, and I was never a big drinker either. Like, but what possessed you at that moment, right? Never taking a drug in your life, because you know you could have fucking ended up dead, because it happens, doesn't it? To take half a Gary Ablett, right? Gary Ablett's involved. Gary Ablett's a tablet for those that don't know. Is an ecstasy, but to take half a Gary, right? What possessed you?
Honestly, don't know. Really don't know.
Was it good? Do you remember the feelings on it?
No, the feeling, like I can always remember like the lads around me and that sort of looking at me and that as if like fucking hell,
it's slipping here.
So no, it probably wasn't. No, wasn't really a good experience, and I'm not gonna sit here and say it was boss had the best night of my life, because it didn't really, never. And then next day travelling home and all that was like, oh, going back to Sheffield, just felt bad about myself, really. Felt bad about myself,
I think, to be fair, I think you needed that to happen in your life, you know.
Yeah, probably did,
Because if it never happened, sometimes this, you know, it's a rigorous kind of application in your life where you go, fucking hell, if I hadn't been like caught doing that, where would it have went? Would it have progressed? Because it could have, you know, there's a progression. It could have went even further. You could have went to a full tablet, let's have a line of charity, let's go fucking with that. Because it happens, you know, so you've caught it. You've been caught at the right time, and you've made that decision which is positive in your life going forward. You know, what was it like growing up? No family background.
Brilliant. Mum and dad still together now.
That's very rare, isn't it?
Yeah. Never wanted for nothing. No. Always loved. Still to this day now. Anything I ever wanted, like even when I was playing, my dad, I think 5 games in my whole life or something he's missed, and growing up was great. Yeah,
it's great, because there's a lot of people that have had, like, you know, like especially from Liverpool, you know, they're growing up, the background's been quite tough, you know, and it doesn't matter where you come from, and that's what you're sharing now. It doesn't matter whether you've had a great upbringing, right? You can still go down this path where it's like dark, desperate, you know, wanting to end it. You know, you could have like the worst life ever, and fucking be a bright fucking shining beacon for everybody else. Yeah. So it doesn't make it. It's not. Do you think it's not how you're brought up or the background? Do you think it's the pathway you want to take?
Yeah. Like you said before about like people around you and all that. Like you'll always have your family around you, no matter what you do, right or wrong. You'll always, majority 99% will stick by you. If then you start like venturing there, being in places that really you shouldn't be in. Like I just wish I would have sort of stayed in training for an extra few hours and then come home, and I used to like an afternoon sleep me, and after training have a little hour sleep, and then by the time you've had your tea you're back to bed because you're doing it again. And in terms of to be a top footballer now, you need to eat, sleep and breathe, and now you never.
Because it wasn't like it is today for like kids who are boxing as well, the nutrition. Yeah. That's a big thing. To make weight back then, we just fucking skipped. And ran a bit longer. We never got these special diets. It was never fucking part of our life. You just got on the scales. We just seemed to weigh okay. But now you've got to put like a lot of effort into diet. And is that with football as well?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Also with the football, I reckon, yeah. Well, necessarily you don't need to make weight, but it's...
You need to have a level of fitness, don't you?
Yeah, you need to be under a certain amount of body fat. They go off in football, yeah.
Do they?
Body fat, yeah. Probably normally needs to be under 10%.
So is the training intense in football?
Yeah, it is. The intensity's always up there, but like the numbers, the way the boxers might come in and train for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then back in the afternoon, and that. Footy's more like towards the hour, and then they might go in the gym twice a week, but come game time, like the intensity and that of runs and...
Yeah, because you've got to spend 90 minutes on the pitch, haven't you?
Yeah, and that 90 minutes has got to be at it for the whole 90 minutes. And, if 4 minutes stoppage times come on and you're getting tired, like, you ain't fit, because if you draw the game now and it's a cup game, you're playing for another half an hour after that. Yeah. So it's 120 minutes, so you need the robots.
Because when I watch these games, I think fucking 90 minutes on the pitch, you know what I mean? People are screaming at the telly, kicking off, there's loads of carry-ons over it. Them kids have got to be, they're under a lot of pressure, they've got to be really like, Sterling. Look at him, mate. Fucking lethal. He's fast on his legs, and he's like that right the way through the game, isn't he?
All through, and that's the majority of the Premier League footballers now. They're like that. They have their own chefs, their own masseurs, their own gyms in their house, and people say, aren't they great professionals? I get it, they are, but if you were getting fucking 150 grand a week, we'd all do that. It's for the lads who are lower down, League Ones, League Twos, who can't really afford that. That's where it becomes tough in terms of getting your own chef. Yeah. You've got to take that upon yourself to eat right, sleep well, hydrate well. So that's where it's a little bit tougher lower down. Yeah,
it's not as hard as if you got someone doing all that stuff for you. So it is. So that the training is absolutely intense. And is that what you do? So what do you do with these kids now?
So I coach them. So from under 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, I'm round, and I'll coach them all. So tonight I'll be in. Tomorrow I've got a course in Stoke, and then Sunday I'm in Newcastle with them, and then Monday and I'll be back in again. So Wednesday's my day off, and coach Mondays, sometimes games Tuesdays, coach Thursday, Fridays, Saturday, Sundays. So
have you seen any potential in the coaching in the kids that you coach?
Yeah, there is. Everton's a top class academy, so if we didn't have any talent coming through, we'd need to be scratching our heads. But there definitely is some good lads coming through, and it's good to coach them. There's some real good coaches who I also learn off as well, so it's a great environment to be in at the minute.
What do you think of Everton's new manager?
I said this before, Bill, like you were saying about the city and people know how it is and all that. Like, everyone knows he's been at Liverpool, so what? The man's a great manager, and he's come in, he's got results already, and Everton look to be, playing well, getting the results. So, like, just instead of judging him, it goes back to before where you want to jump on someone. Yeah. Sit back, have the conversation, see him, judge him on a year or two down the line.
What's your view on like fans and they're quick to judge on managers that are coming through? Because there's a lot, you know, you've seen it with Mourinho and everyone, didn't you? You know, the fucking... They do well, and then they do fucking one bad fucking season. And
so fans can get you out the door, of course they can, because they're the ones paying the money, so owners have got to listen to them. As a player, I always did like to listen to the fans in terms of they paid my wages, so if they had anything negative to say to me or anything like that, I'd take it on board and get on with it. I also see the ones who call you a prick one week and then the next week are saying you're the best player we've ever seen. So there is that fine balance. But for me, you sort of do need to take an interest in what the fans say, because like I said, they're paying hard money to go and watch you.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, it's important that, you know, you want to be winning things. You know, what do you believe the difference is between, is it money? Because I think it is, between Liverpool and Everton. Why is an Everton doing as successful as Liverpool?
Tough one to answer. Honestly, don't know with the new owner, the new stadium and all stuff like that. You straight away you attract new things. Like Newcastle now, they've just got a new owner, and all of a sudden they're talking about like signing Salah and Neymar and getting this manager in and that manager in. Straight away, they might be a buzz about the place. There's some lads who are at a top level who might only have a few years left and want a massive payday out. So, like, they might go to Newcastle now. You never know. But I just think once Everton win a bit of silverware, I think this year already the league table's looking all right. Obviously, no more after Christmas. But once you get into the Champions League, Europa League, you win a little trophy, then you certainly start attracting. And
I don't even think you were born when we were winning silverware, though.
No, I wasn't, but and it is sad to see, because
I remember back in the 80s, and you know, you got Andy Gray, fucking unbelievable team back then. AD and Eve. I can name the team back then. Like, I don't know what fucking player now.
Well, I play golf Wednesday, like Sharpie and all out of there, and you look
Simon Geezer.
You look at them all and think, like, you know, what they brought to the club was brilliant. But like you see with Leicester, anyone can do it. You just need to, you know, concentration levels are at a high level for.
Yeah, because they won a Premier, didn't he?
Yeah. Leicester won a Premier League, and Leicester had, all due respect, you know, top manager there, and you know, got a great team, but they ain't a bigger club than Everton, Leicester. And
no, but they're top player. They had one top player.
They had Vardy at the time. He was scoring goals and that.
He was the main goal scorer. He played for England as well, didn't he, in the end? So I always wonder, because, you know, like I said before, I'm not a big Everton fan, but I do watch it and I do listen, you know, and I do go, fucking hell, what's going on with our team? You know, I'm more of an armchair supporter. You know, I am. I've been to a few matches. I'd rather watch a little bit of boxing, to be fair. So the difference between like Liverpool and Everton's obviously money. Yeah,
well, I think if, like Liverpool, you know, like we've seen over the few years, winning a Premier League, winning a Champions League, straight away that it attracts massive money. It attracts sponsorship money. It attracts, you know, bonuses through winning that. So it's easier to spend then. Where if you're not, everything you spending's like sort of, let's say, coming out your own pocket, which you know that's what these are in for, and you've seen with Macheri and Ken Wright and that over the years. They're not ashamed of doing that. You come in, you know, the Bramley-Moore dock already, and £50 million for players and all that. He has put his money on the table, which is great. And, you know, I think, honestly, I do think that the future's looking good for Everton, and if they do win something that attracts, then that stuff what we're talking about, it's easier to spend then.
Tell us a little bit about the background of being a bit of blue.
People always say that bit of blue. I just think I think every fan through what I've been through in my footy career is bitter at some point. If you sit there and your team gets beat on a Saturday, you'll see a bitter Sheffield fan, you'll see a bitter Sheffield Wednesday fan, a bitter Liverpool fan, United fan. It's just I just think it's.
I
more
just think it
banter in the
rhymes,
city.
doesn't it? And it's stuck. Bits of blue. You know, we our job gets it along. You know what I mean? Because he lives in a house full of Reds. He can't fucking stand them. You know what I mean? You know, it's funny to watch when the derby's on, like, you know what I mean? But then as our kid's a little bit of a cat, really, because he's got a top. He's got a Liverpool top and an Everton top.
Yeah, so whoever wins
whoever
on
wins,
the day.
Celebrity, I caught him out a few times. You know what I mean? Yeah, because that's always been something that, like, Everton have been fucking, like, no one has better, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, like,
you know, and the banter between, you know, you just don't want a podcast with Angie. Yeah. Angie's a fucking big red, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, so I only know that because I've seen a few pictures. Well, fucking Ali throws everything up on fucking red.
Yeah,
you know
the red, yeah.
Angie, you're a cop. Moving on. Yeah, so you're you know, that's a big thing, isn't it? The city.
It is.
Do you think there's a bit of an us and them? Do you think the banter's harmless banter? Because years ago, it never used to be like that. It used to be battles, didn't it?
I think why, Bill, like you said, and you hit the nail on the head before. So going back to the 80s, it was Liverpool winning this, Everton winning that, and the competition between the two of them was one of them won something. Yeah. So there was never that
support.
I think there was never that arguments, like you said, and there was never that, like, people getting into heated discussions over it because it was like, all right, well, we'll get you next time. But as it goes on, the years and the years, in terms of Liverpool are winning stuff and Everton not so winning stuff, the arguments come a little bit more. So, like, will Liverpool start saying, well, where are you now type thing, and Everton saying, well, we won everything then, and that's where the arguments come. I think if Everton start winning things and Liverpool do again, that you'll see the conversations.
I think the city as a whole should be supporting each other.
Yeah,
you know, that's what I felt. I don't watch football because of, like, watching my dad growing up. He smashed the fucking house up if we lost. You know, he was a bit of a. I'm not saying he was a bit of fucking, but it was like, it was hard to see. You know, it was, and then he'd be screaming at the telly, or they'd have his mates around, and they'll all be kicking off, and I think they're putting a lot of energy into to, like, feeling really upset.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then you see it on, like, social media. If a team loses, you know, so if Everton, if, say, for example, a derby, you know, Liverpool have won. Obviously, fucking Everton always get beat at the derby. I think the last one was a draw.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, I think that was it, if I remember rightly. But Everton never seems to fucking win. You know, it's quite mad. And Liverpool fans seem to put down Everton, but Everton seems to fucking bounce back with the same stuff.
Like you said.
What do you think the answer is to that?
I just think, like, like, I'm totally with you. Support. So, like, be happy with both doing well, because at the end of the day, we're from a city where if one's doing well, the tourist attractions are brilliant. Yeah. Everton putting that new stadium down on the dock, absolutely brilliant for the tourist attractions, for the city, for the economy, everything. It's brilliant. So that'd be my answer.
Yeah. Cool. Right. I've really enjoyed this little chat. I'm trying to understand football a little bit better. You know, it was funny because when I was talking today, I didn't even know who he played for, apart from Liverpool. Like, so we were, like, saying there, like, because I try not to go in with any questions or any research. I only know you from social media, and we've met once. I don't know your background, Jose. I don't watch your stuff, so
best way to go in.
So I'm coming in, looking like with a blank canvas. Yeah. If I've got questions, you've done this, you've done that, then I've tried it once before and it didn't seem as authentic. You know, so
totally with you.
I'd rather just come in and ask questions, make a few mistakes. You know, I'm not perfect, and you know, if you see anyone that is, run a fucking mile, because you know, there's going to be something wrong with them. So I'm trying to understand a little bit about football, and I have after this little conversation. So I always say this at the end of every podcast, Jose. What would you say? Pearls of wisdom here. I always get pulled up if I don't get this one right. Any pearls of wisdom? Is there anything you'd say, right, to a young Jose Baxter coming through the doors of life? What would you say to them? Look at yourself, just a young you.
Yeah, as a footballer, as a person.
Just as a person wanting to fucking make a decision and choose his own pathway in life.
It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Keep it simple. I like it.
Yeah.
And with that, mate, thank you very much.
No problems, Bill. Thank you
one.
very much.
Thank
Appreciate it. Thank you.